and welcome back.
Hey.
We've got one more review.
Yeah, we do.
This is kind of a tag team review. We actually are now able to talk about a phone or phones that are available, have been launched, and we can share our reviews of those. So this is the realme brand, the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro Plus.
Yep.
So they both sound like premium and kind of leaves room for a 9 somewhere down the road, or maybe a 9 Lite, or however the phone makers decide to do these things.
Right.
So the 9 Pro, and then there's the Plus. And there are some differences between these two.
Yeah.
Luke, you had a chance. You spent time with the 9 Pro Plus.
Yeah, I did.
And I have been using the 9 Pro. And so let's talk a little bit about these without diving through every little thing.
Sure.
What's the high general reaction to that phone for you?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I hadn't used a realme phone as a daily driver before. So I was excited to live with their, the realme OS, which is slightly different than stock Android. I've been living in stock Android for couple years now. So I wanted to get kind of just a new perspective on Android. And it's great. I like the customization that you get. You get a little bit more personalization, not really any feature ads of things that are like, oh man, I wish the stock Android experience was what had this. So it has everything that way, but just personalization where when you get a text message, it'll just do an edge light. You have some animations for your fingerprint unlock. A couple little things like that, just a little added, hey, make it your own kind of thing.
Yeah.
A little bit more control on the color of the UI than you do in the stock Android. Things like that were welcome addition. The refresh rate of the screen was very nice.
Yep.
Resolution of the screen was good. I didn't notice any kind of anything that I missed from my normal daily driver is a Pixel 6 Pro. And I didn't really notice a change that perceivable. I mean, it's different.
Sure.
But it's not anything where I was like, man, this display is not as good.
Yeah.
It was still definitely did what I needed to do.
Yep.
The other thing, I guess, of note is this color. So this is the sunrise blue.
I believe that is the color.
It is
sunrise blue.
So cool. So it's like this blue. It's kind of hard to see with this light, but you go just search this phone, you'll find pictures of it. But it's this kind of pearlescent blue design. But when it gets out into a UV light, it changes to this kind of pink orange color. It's almost like the hypercolor stuff. And then when you come back inside, it'll stay that pink orange red-ish kind of color until it cools off is not the right word, but it just slowly fades to this blue.
Yeah.
Really cool. Like,
it is a cool effect.
It's not a selling point of the phone, but it's a nice little touch of like, oh, that's cool.
It's something that you can see a lot of other phone makers mimicking at a later date.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just because you can, they did.
Yeah.
It comes with, in the box, it comes with a clear case, so you don't have to worry about, hiding that. That's one of the first things of like, you want to put a case on your phone, but when it has a cool feature like that, you don't want to cover it up.
Yep.
So it comes with a clear case. The other thing about this is this has a Sony Sensor for the camera. What is the actual name of it? Because it's hard to remember.
So that is the Sony. It's a 50 megapixel, right?
Yep, 50 megapixel sensor. But it's the first time it's been in a phone.
The IMX 766.
Yeah. So this sensor, it's the first time it's been in a phone in the United States.
Yeah, in the mid-range.
Yeah. This camera is incredible.
Yeah.
Like it really is incredible. It's one of those things where you use it and you go, as a Pixel 6 user, you go, why not us?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It has, and it has all the features too. I mean, it's a triple camera system with also with this front-facing selfie cam. But it has telephoto, it has a super wide camera, and then also you have macro into it. And it just is consistent, and it's a nice crisp picture. It has no focus issues. It knows it has the smarts to know what you want to take a picture of when you point your camera.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I found with my 6 Pro is that I have to tell it what I want it to focus on. And it's not something I ever really had to do with my Pixel before. And so when you go back to a camera that kind of is a little more intuitive, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Makes you want to take pictures more. The other thing about this phone is the battery life is great. Like it lasts all day, no problem. It doesn't have as fast of a processor as my Pixel. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there, probably. But it still did everything I needed to do, and I didn't feel like I was waiting too long compared to my Pixel.
Sure.
It's not as fast. It's just not as fast of a processor. But for what I do, it works completely fine. The other thing is it has face unlock.
Yeah.
And a in-screen fingerprint sensor that works very well.
Yeah, it's a pain point for me as a Pixel 6 user, is the technology behind that fingerprint reader versus the other one. On the Pixel, it wants to light up and read the finger. That one has a different technology. It's much quicker.
Yep.
And it's also nice to have face unlock.
Yeah.
Like literally picking it up and it's unlocked as you kind of like grab the phone to get into it. Yeah. So there are some differences. And to your point, I feel almost 100% in line with everything you said. I've used a couple of realme phones now, and they are a treat to use.
Yeah.
They are, for me, one of those things where I can get away with so much on this phone that costs so little compared to what other phones are.
Sure.
And these are mid-range phones, but they are no slouch mid-range kind of like, this is yesterday's, flagship. These feel every bit as capable as I would expect a phone to be. But you're looking at, $350, $400.
That's amazing.
For something like this. So some of the differences to kind of point out between the two. So I had the 9 Pro, and just a couple of the specifications to kind of point out there. Mine has, and these both run Android 12.
Yep.
With the Realme UI 3.
Yep.
Which have that software capabilities and enhancements, personalization. Really kind of, spend 10 minutes playing with it, and that phone looks very much you.
Yeah.
You pick it up and go, oh, I like this. This feels really good.
Yeah.
The 9 Pro has a 6.6-inch display at 1080 by 2400, where your 9 Pro Plus has a 6.4-inch, so it's a slightly smaller. Now, whereas mine is a 120 hertz refresh rate.
Yeah.
It's an LCD display. Yours is a 90 hertz Super AMOLED display.
Yeah.
So that is something that, at 90 hertz and above, you're still looking at a buttery smooth experience. If you get into 120, 144, you're kind of doing really well for yourself, because not everything is optimized to take advantage of that anyways. Sure. So, 90 and above is nice.
Yeah.
And if you have used it, you know the difference.
Yeah.
You've played the games or done the scrolling and thought, boy, this just feels smooth.
Yeah.
This just feels really cool. Let's see what else we have. Your 9 Pro Plus comes with 6 gigabytes of RAM or 8, and that's paired with 128 gigabytes of storage. And there's also an 8 gigabyte version with 256.
Yeah.
Now, for me, the 9 Pro, that one is available in 6 gigabyte and 8 gigabyte with 128.
Okay.
So the 9 Pro Plus gives you a little bit more. That available. Let's see what else. For your phone, you have a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. Mine is a 5,000 milliamp hour.
Okay.
I can fast charge mine at 33 watts.
Nice.
Where, according to GSM Arena, they say that you could fast charge yours up to 60 watts.
Okay.
And that's a big difference.
It is.
If you've had time or experience when you move to that 25, 30 watt, that's much quicker than the phones you're used to maybe 2 years ago, last generation of phone. You get into these 60 watt and basically it's kind of like it's like using a laptop charger for your phone and it taking it, being able to handle that. This one, same as yours. You've got the power button on the right and you've got your volume button on the left, whereas with yours, same thing. I like the face unlock. I like the fingerprint reader. I like having the choice.
Yeah.
I don't like it when I'm kind of told, hey, you have to use this fingerprint reader or key in a pad, a number thing, because it sounds stupid and trivial, but it slows you down when you want to do something just as simple as checking a text.
It would be okay, I think, to me, is if I'd never had the option, I wouldn't really know the difference.
Yep.
It would be okay. But now that I've had the opportunity to have the fast fingerprint reader, and the Pixel 6 Pro is not slow. It's really in the broad scheme of things, it works.
Yep.
It just doesn't work as well as other phones. And when you go back to something that has all of the options for you, you kind of are left going, why was this not included?
Yeah, like, how come you guys didn't do this?
Right.
One other big distinction between these, the 9 Pro has a MediaTek Dimensity 920 processor, and yours has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 695. These are both 5G phones.
Yep.
And that is one thing that we should qualify.
Yeah.
Because these phones do show 5G where we are.
Yes.
We put in, both of us, I believe, T-Mobile SIM.
Yep.
Work well. There are some places that you found did not pick up the 5G the same way that your Pixel did.
Right.
Because of...
Yeah, and also I found that I had to enable it. So it wasn't enabled off the bat. And then certain places where I normally have 5G service, I was on Edge on this phone.
Yeah.
And if we remember Edge,
2G,
not great.
Yeah.
It was it was less than a desirable experience.
Sure.
I still had phone service. I could still make calls, and that was totally fine.
But even receiving a high-resolution photo...
Right. Nope, didn't work.
Yeah.
I had to wait to download when I was on Wi-Fi or back into high speed. And then I also had a strange issue where it was prioritizing mobile data over Wi-Fi. And I did some messing around in the settings, and I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on with that. So I know we got sent these devices. I did run updates, all the updates that were available, but I don't know if these were pre-launch devices. I don't know if there was something different.
Sure.
But I do want to say that as part of the review that some of that was interesting to me. I'd never run into that problem in any other smartphone that I can remember that would prioritize my mobile data over the Wi-Fi, given a strong Wi-Fi signal. I've been in situations where if it's spotty Wi-Fi, you can have it prefer a continuous connection. But I even changed those toggles and was still having the problem.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I don't think that's a reason to not buy the phone. It's a great phone.
My big takeaway from Realme as a whole is I'm really excited about the brand and what they're doing physically with their phones. They appear to punch above their weight. They do punch above their weight in terms of price from what we're used to. I love the competition that it brings to the U.S. market.
Absolutely.
With some qualifications when you look at, hey, is this truly going to work for me in terms of my network coverage?
Right.
And you can look on the box, you can look on their website and see the bands and the support. And if you really want to, dive into it, you can check with your carrier to see what you might expect, where you might expect that.
Sure.
Not quite, and again, these are, these may not be a global version of the box. Like sometimes they will release a European or Indian version of the device. So I don't know definitively if we received a global variant.
Sure.
So if you do receive that, then that really opens up the door to even more coverage. But because we're not a U.S. only website or channel, we were able to take a look at these. So if you are a U.S. subscriber, you're on T-Mobile or Mint or AT&T, Cricket, one of those types of MVNOs, you should be good.
Yeah.
And really, if you fall back to 4G, that's still a thing where 4G was great. 5G just kind of becomes icing on the cake for some people. But all that is, personal preference and what you expect price-wise and, for your own money. But I would say generally very high marks for the Realme brand. And I would say for the 9 Pro, and then you had the 9 Pro Plus. Would you say the same?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Luke.
Thank you.